Is it fair to call Hadoop an essential data tool at this point? Has it reached that point?
I think it's an essential data tool, and I think that the ecosystem around it provides additional options. I don't think it solves all problems, though.
Are we at a point now where there's such a thing as Hadoop out of the box, or does it just require that amount of customization?
There's several distributions now that come close to that, but it still takes substantial expertise. There's only one or two that come with batteries, you might say.
Do you think we'll get to that point eventually?
I think so, but I think Hadoop will be a very different animal by the time we get there.
It's sort of related to that. At this point, do you feel that Hadoop is accessible to non-programmers, or do you need a fairly heavy technical background to be able to use it?
There's a few tools that have conceits in that direction. Data Mirror is one, but virtually every other requires at the very least a pretty significant programmer mindset. Whether or not you actually do low-level code or not is not the question. The question is, do you think like as an analyst or a programmer? And that's the key question. So
it's the thinking as opposed to the actual skill set.
Yes, and it's also knowledge of basic considerations like how fast is a disk, what does seek mean, what's data organization mean. Because typically if you're using Hadoop, you've exceeded normal bounds. And once you've exceeded those, you have to have exquisite awareness of your environment to continue at all.
Now, final question for you. If an organization is looking to integrate Hadoop into its workflow, what are the first things that it needs to start considering?
I think the first thing and central thing is always the data. To understand the data, understand the business practices that result in data and could result in data. And once you can really drive down what those are, then you start talking about exactly the right way to analyze them. I've had a number of questions on the Mahood mailing list where somebody comes in and says, I've got 12,000 data samples, I need big data techniques, and we go, no, you don't. Look at the data first,
Sure.
Then pick the tools.
Right.
And there really are a lot of small data problems around, even peripheral to big data problems. And it's important to solve the right things with the right tools.
Right. Well, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate you taking the time.
Well, that was easy.